Also re-echoing Black history was today's march in downtown Boston supporting fast food workers. This was the latest call for a higher minimum wage and union representation in the Fight for 15 campaign. The march was part of a nationwide protest on the 50th anniversary of a strike by sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, the last campaign supported by Martin Luther King Jr.
When I got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, it's definitely not right. You got all these big bosses just watching us struggle, blood, sweat, and tears, and break our backs, and they're not trying to pay us enough. Without employees, your company's not going to run right. So why not treat them right? Why not make sure that they have job security, union rights, and that they have a fair minimum wage?
Regardless of what job that you have, everybody deserves to get paid a minimum wage and a union so that they will be able to support their family.
It was not enough for people of color to struggle, but all working class people needed to struggle in this country. And we have forgotten that. Every time you talk about regaining that alliance, you are closer to your goal. You are closer to your goal, and you are closer to the goal of working class people in this country being treated like human beings.
Everyone deserves 15, at least at the minimum, 15 an hour. The single mother that's struggling deserves 15 an hour. The single father that's struggling to pay bills deserves 15 an hour. The family of 4 that's struggling to pay bills and are wondering how to afford access to equal health care and access to quality child care deserves 15 an hour.
Joining us are 2 participants in today's protest, a Boston member of Fight for 15 campaign, Paris Wilson, and one of the speakers today, the outreach minister from Berachah Church in Dorchester, Reverend Vernon K. Walker. Thank you both very much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I want to start with Paris. You seem to be too young to maybe remember back 50 years ago to the sanitation workers, but I'm sure you've heard the story.
Yes.
Talk about what you have in common with them.
The same thing back then. Like, I'm struggling now. I'm struggling to get union rights, struggling to get job security, paid leave, medical leave. You know, I'm struggling with the minimum wage they're paying us now. So just like they fought for better, that's what we're doing now. We're trying to fight for better, and they fought to make things better for us now. So we're trying to make things better for the kids in the future.
Reverend, what was your message about this, looking back to 1968?
Well, I just wanted to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the sanitation workers' strike, and also point out that this is the reason that Dr. King came to Memphis, is because he wanted to stand in support with the sanitation workers. And as a result, because of their 2.5 month strike, they were able to get higher wages and be recognized as a union from the city of Memphis.
Chris, Paris, I know this is a campaign that started around fast food workers and the big chains, but we're talking about other workers as well, aren't we?
Yes. Airport workers, sanitation workers, there's construction workers. They were out there. Like, there's a lot of people that are still being overworked and underpaid. Even though some people are making more than what I'm making, some of them still don't have unions, still don't get paid leave. So it's just not about the 15, but it's also about union and job security too for everybody.
Yeah, I know we have a minimum wage right now, Reverend, that's around $11 an hour, but talk about why you need 15, especially if you have people who live anywhere near Boston.
Well, because it's very expensive to live in Boston. Boston is one of the higher living cities, one of the most expensive cities to live in New England and in the country, and $15 is just a bare minimum. But we're not only asking for 15, but we're also asking for a union, which promises job security, protects workers against unfair scheduling practices, allows workers to have paid medical family leave in case one of their children gets sick, or if they get sick and they can't come in, then they're covered by the paid medical family leave.
Paris, what about your thoughts on why you need a union?
I need a union because I'm a single father. I have 2 kids, and my kids can get sick. I can get sick working. I can get hurt on the job. If anything, I have scars from working on the grill, and I want to be able to know that I'm secure if I have to take time off and I can still be able to make money to pay my bills and feed my kids.
Reverend, what was the reception like today? You marched from one McDonald's to another, I guess, downtown Boston?
Oh, the reception was great. It was fantastic. The wind was blowing, but our hearts were warm because we were fighting for justice, and we will continue to march on for justice. And I'm of the belief that if one can't run, then we walk. If one can't walk, then we crawl. But no matter in whatever fashion that it must take, or whatever we must do, we must make progress. And it was a jubilant time as we shouted that we need 15, as we reminded the people in downtown Boston that the Fight for 15 is alive, active, and doing well. And it was just a very touching moment as we all stood in solidarity, and we all come from different backgrounds and different classes, but we were all united together around our concern of the economical conditions this country faces.
Paris, what about yourself being involved in this campaign? Because a lot of workers, they don't want to make waves, maybe. What makes you different?
I'm a very outspoken person. I'm not going to let nobody overwork me. I'm not going to sit there and slave myself for minimum wage, for a low minimum wage, when I know I deserve better and I can't afford to live in my own city. It's ridiculous. Like, everybody has families, or or want to make a better future for themselves or their kids, and we can't because these big companies, are just not paying us enough or not giving us a good union job security. And it's like, without the employees, how's your business going to run? So you get.
One more thing, Reverend. I know we don't have a $15 minimum wage yet in Massachusetts, but is there anything you can point to in this campaign, or even around the country, to say that, look, because of this, we've gained something so far that's really important? What would you point to?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because the Fight for 15 has been ongoing for the last 5 years, and there has been considerable gains made. In fact, directly related to 10 million workers experiencing wage increase is due to the Fight for 15. But there's still a fight to be had, and there's still fights that ought to go on, especially and particularly against corporate greed, when we have CEOs of some of these fast food restaurants making thousands of dollars an hour, but yet we have workers who are making less than 15. So the Fight for 15 so far can hang his hat on that there are 10 million workers who have experienced a wage increase because people of goodwill have gotten together. Fast food workers, workers at CVS and other convenience stores have gotten together to say, we're tired of being sick and tired of being treated inhuman. We're tired of being paid less than what we deserve.
Thank you both very much, Reverend Vernon K. Walker and Paris Wilson.